What's up guys, Shane Starnes here with Droid-life. You finally got your Note 9 in hand. Once you've gone through the initial setup, there are a few things that you should do to your phone to get the best possible experience. These are the first 10 things that you must do on the Galaxy Note 9. Let's go ahead and get started. You just spent over $1,000 on a brand new flagship phone. The last thing you want to do is drop this phone and totally destroy it. The first thing you want to do is apply a good screen protector. My recommendation is a Whitestone Dome protector, and you're definitely going to want to add a case. My recommendation is an Urban Armor Gear case. Mine have not arrived yet, so I'll be using this OtterBox Symmetry Series case, which offers similar protection, but not as lightweight as an Urban Armor Gear case. Also, don't rely too much on the lip of the case protecting your screen. You do have dual curved edges here. The dual curved edges are susceptible to cracking, even with a raised edge on a case. I learned this the hard way with my Galaxy Note 8, which was in a $50 Urban Armor Gear case, and it still had a cracked screen because of these curved edges. Next up, you're going to want to go ahead and set up a security measure. The fingerprint scanner has always been my go-to, but on the Galaxy Note 9, the reach is super high up here, and it's kind of difficult to find on the Note 9. I'm still going to use the fingerprint scanner, but I would also suggest that you go ahead and set up your face unlock or your iris unlock for a quicker, easier security option. To set up whichever security option you choose, you're going to go into your settings, go into biometrics and security, and then here you can choose what you want. I'll just say face recognition. All right, and just like that, my face has been registered. So here you have the option to keep faster recognition on or off. It's more secure, obviously, if you turn it off. There is a chance that a video or an image of your face could unlock the screen if you leave this turned on. Real quickly, we will see how it works. And the face unlock seems to be pretty quick and accurate. One thing that I really love about the Galaxy Note 9 is the fact that Samsung decided to give us tons of storage out of the box on this device. You have 128 gigabytes on the base model, 512 gigabytes on the premium model. But one thing that kind of stinks about TouchWiz is that it takes up tons of that storage right off the bat. In fact, if we go into our settings and we go to our device maintenance and we go to storage, you can see that I've only got 107 gigabytes of available space out of my 128 gigabytes of storage. You're going to want to go ahead and remove the bloat from your phone. That's going to free up a little bit of storage, and every little bit counts. So I've got the AT&T version, and there's not a ton of bloatware on this phone. In fact, when I was setting up the phone in the beginning, it actually gave me the option of whether or not I wanted to install most of the bloatware that comes with the phone, and of course I chose to not install the bloatware. There are still a few apps that came anyhow. You can see here we've got the Solitary app. I'll go ahead and uninstall that. It's not necessary. I'll never use it. You've got the Smart News, another one that I'll never use. There's really no sense in having it on the phone. The CNN app, I'll never use that. If we scroll over, it also automatically downloaded this Plant Snap. I'll uninstall that. We've got lots of AT&T applications that I'll never use. So I'll go ahead and just press and hold and uninstall. Some of these are system apps. You won't be able to totally uninstall them, but you can disable them, which means they're not going to be using precious resources. They're not going to be using RAM because they won't be able to automatically run in the background. It's basically as if they're uninstalled. They're just still going to be there, taking up some of that storage space. And I'll just continue with all of these. Another thing that I normally like to do when I first set up my phone is I'll go into the Samsung apps, I'll go into Samsung Health, and I'll go ahead and just activate this. That way it's going to be able to be tracking my steps from day one. So this has happened in the past where I pulled out my phone and checked my steps and I didn't turn on Samsung Health, and so that whole day of steps were not counted. So if you want your steps to be counted, go ahead and enable Samsung Health. And then you also can do things like check your heart rate, check your stress level. So there's all kinds of really cool things. You can track what you eat. You can set some weight loss goals, all kinds of neat things here in the Samsung Health app. Next up, I would go ahead and turn off the Bigsby Home. And how you do that is you'll pull up your widgets and wallpaper settings here, scroll all the way over to the left and turn off Bigsby Home. Unfortunately, there is no setting to turn off the Bigsby button. I find on devices like the S9 and the Note 8, it was always a useful feature to be able to turn off the Bigsby button, because you accidentally press the Bigsby button all the time, or at least I do, and it launches the Bigsby app, which I'm not trying to use. It just is really annoying and frustrating. I wish that Samsung would allow the remapping of the Bigsby buttons so that we could use something a little more useful like the Google Assistant. However, on the Note 9, there is no option to turn off the Bigsby button, but you can still turn off the Bigsby Home if you think that you would just rather not have that running in the background on your phone. While we're on the home screen, we'll go ahead and set up our settings toggles. When you first swipe down, you get a list of 6 toggles. You can actually change these 6 toggles to the toggles that you would most likely use. So just go ahead and swipe down again. Go ahead and press the menu up here and then change the button order. So what you'll do is you'll just place the top 6. So I'm more likely to use the flashlight than airplane mode, so I'll go ahead and swap that. I'm more likely to use my mobile hotspot than auto rotate, and I'll go ahead and put the flashlight back in place of the auto rotate there. That way, when I'm done, I've got some quick toggles that I'm more likely to actually use. And then of course, you can edit these further. If you click back on the settings, you go to button grid here, and you can change the button layout here. So instead of having 12 toggles, you could have up to 15 toggles, or if you wanted a little less here, you could just have 9. You can remove toggles altogether. So if you just want one page of toggles, you can actually remove toggles that you don't need or that you will not use. And they have one extra here, this nearby toggle, that you can add as well. On your phone, you can do actions like order in a cafe or find items in a store, or you and your friends can do actions like play games or work together in apps. Basically, it's linking you up with other devices that are nearby. Okay, you want to go ahead and make your changes to the display. So we'll go into our settings and we'll go to our display settings. By default, this is set at FHD Plus or 1080p Plus. And if you want to take full advantage of this QHD display, you'll have to toggle on the QHD display. It should be noted that if you do toggle on the QHD Plus display, that it's going to cause a little bit of extra battery drain. If your eyes can't tell the difference, maybe you decide to stick with 1080p, maybe even bump it down a step to 720p, and that may even help you get a little more battery life, maybe an extra % or 2 out of your device. While we're in the display settings, go ahead and set up your navigation bar. If you're coming from a device other than a Samsung device, then you're probably used to the back button being on the left and the recents button being on the right. You can actually change the button layout to what you're more familiar with. Or you can decide to just get used to the way Samsung does things. You can also choose to unlock your phone with the home button. This allows you to hard press the home button while the screen is off to go directly to the home screen. Okay, and then you do have a couple of status bar settings. By default, you have the battery percentage up top. If that looks a little cluttered to you, you can turn it off. And then you can choose to have only the 3 most recent notifications in your status bar. That's going to make things a little less cluttered when you have tons of applications that are notifying you all the time. All right, one last thing that has to do with the display. If we go into our advanced features and we go down here to video enhancer, you can actually enhance the video quality on apps like YouTube or the Google Play Store if you're watching like a movie from the Play Store. Just by turning this on, it's going to give you a more vivid, brighter image when viewing video. While we're here in the advanced features, you may want to consider turning on one-handed mode. This phone is definitely a two-handed device, but if you need to use just one hand, you can actually turn on one-handed mode. Once one-handed mode is turned on, simply swipe up from the bottom right-hand or left-hand corner, and that's going to give you a much smaller screen that you can fully access with one hand. When you want to jump out of one-handed mode, simply press outside of the screen, and that's going to take you back out of one-handed mode. Next up, head into the lock screen settings and go to your always-on display. You've got quite a few settings here. You can either turn auto brightness on, or to save some battery, you can turn the brightness down on your always-on display, or you can decide to have it at max brightness at all times. You can also set a schedule, so if you know that you're not going to need it during the nighttime while you sleep, you can turn it off. That way that bright second screen display is not keeping you up at night. Now, if you jump back into your lock screen settings and go to your clock style, you can actually change the style of your always on display or your lock screen clock. And as you can see here, there are tons of different always on display clocks to choose from. And there's even an option here to add your own image or your own GIFs, which is a pretty cool feature. I personally kind of like this one, so that's the one that I will go with. If I turn off the display, that is our always on display clock. So one of the most annoying things in life is when you're trying to sleep and your phone continues to buzz and you get notifications, and they're useless, meaningless notifications for apps that you don't really even use, yet they're waking you up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You're gonna wanna make sure that you set up your do not disturb. So we'll go into our settings, we'll go into sounds and vibration, go down to do not disturb. You can go ahead and turn it on and turn on as scheduled. So for me, it's every day of the week, and it's going to be from about midnight to 7 a.m. This way I'm not getting notifications. You can actually turn on exceptions so that if you need your alarm to ring to wake you up in the morning, it's still going to ring. You can also have exceptions under custom where you can allow your favorite contacts to get through. So if a loved one really needs to get through, they're able to get through even with your do not disturb mode turned on. Okay, and then finally, you'll want to make sure that you set up a theme. So if you're into customizing your phone, you can do that with Samsung. They actually have their own theme engine, and you can easily customize the entire look of your phone. So the clock widget, the app icons, even things like your system UI can be themed by simply applying a theme. There's lots of free themes, and there are also several paid themes, but it's going to give your phone a totally unique look. As you can see here, it doesn't even really look the same. Everything is totally unique and different. So if you're into customizing your phone, definitely take a look at the included themes. All right, guys, that about wraps it up for this video. Hopefully these tips will make your Galaxy Note 9 experience that much more enjoyable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did I miss anything? What do you normally do first whenever you get a new phone? Thanks, guys, for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.